Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about Bose's most hated speaker system. Let's talk about it. And before I get started, I want to apologize for the loud AC running in the background. Normally I would turn it off for a video, but today I'm going to leave it running since it's 95 degrees outside and I'm not trying to have a heart attack or die of sweat. So, let's get to it. So today we're going to take a deep dive into the Acoustimass modules and see what they're all about. As you can see here, I've got the Acoustimass 5 Series 3. And over here is the Acoustimass 700, which is actually the same module used in the Bose Acoustimass 5 Series 2. So let's take a look at the Acoustimass 5 Series 3. As you can see, it's got two 5 1/4 drivers. It's got a foam material on the surrounds, which is a special blend that Bose made that doesn't rot. So all these years later, they still have plenty of flexibility, no cracks, no problems. And the reason they have clear dust caps is actually to help in the assembly line. They used UV light to cure the glue, which is pretty interesting. I thought I'd share that. So now let's see what's on the inside of here. So I've already disassembled this, as you can see. And this right here is the front cover, which of course has the port. And on the inside here, there's actually two different ports tuned to different lengths. So let's look on the other side of it. And looking at the back here, you can see there's the area for the 5 1/4 right there, and two different length ports. Now one port goes to the front of the woofers, and the other port is in this little chamber back here, and that's for the rear of the woofers. And both of those ports go to the front, which then comes through this port, making it an 8th order bandpass box. Now I will say, on this one here, it does a lot better low bass. You don't hear the voices come through as much, and it sounds closer to what a sub would sound like, even though that's not what this is. Now this guy over here, as you can see, it's got a port that goes straight back, and I don't know if you can tell, but this one here, the front chamber is a lot larger and the rear chamber is a lot smaller. As on this one, the rear chamber is huge, but on the other one, this rear chamber is about right here, which results in better mid bass and not as good low bass. And another thing I wanted to point out before I forget is you can see that port is a lot smaller that goes to the rear of the drivers, and it also has a port down below that's smaller as well. So both these ports are the same size, while on the other one you have two different sizes. As you can see here, it's a much bigger port on this one versus the other one, not so much. Now let's talk about the cubes. So as you can see here, I have two different style of cubes. I've got the red line on the left, and on the right I have a jewel cube. As you can see, it's a little bit different as far as the size goes, but they're roughly the same weight, with the jewel cube actually being a little bit heavier. Now the red lines came with the Acoustimass 5 Series 2, and I believe the original Acoustimass 5. While the jewel cubes came with the Acoustimass 5 Series 3, Acoustimass 10 Series 2, and I believe the Acoustimass 10 Series 3. And on the back of the red line, you have spring-loaded terminals, while the jewel cube has a push terminal. So the main differences that I've seen on these is that the red lines seem to have a little bit more treble to them, while these have a little bit better mids and less treble. So they're easier to listen to in my opinion, while these tend to be a little bit on the bright side. I also want to mention how you can position these for a wider soundstage, a little bit more depth, and a seemingly more spacious experience. Now, these also have mounts on the back, so you can mount them on the wall or on the proprietary Bose stands, which I'm probably going to end up getting since having them on top of a speaker is not necessarily the optimal listening spot. So putting them on a stand will bring them to ear level, which is the proper way to listen to speakers, instead of having them way up here. But let's talk about why people hate on the Bose Acoustimass and what I've done to increase the sound quality on mine. So the first problem I see is people mounting the Bose speakers way above ear level. I've seen some of them be mounted way up on the walls, which is not how it's supposed to be. That's good for front surround channels, but for a dedicated left and right, you need them at the proper spot, at ear level. And let's talk about the Acoustimass modules. So on the Acoustimass 5 Series 2 or the Acoustimass 700, I tested it quite a few different ways. I had the port facing the corner, I had it facing the back wall, and then I put it facing forward. And facing forward, I found on the Series 2 or the 700 gives it the most natural sounding bass. It blends a lot better and it's less boomy that way. Now with the Acoustimass 5 Series 3, it's a little bit different. You have to take and put the actual port facing the wall, like so. Otherwise, you're not going to get as much blending and it's going to sound a lot boomier. The reason being that this tends to put out a lot more low frequencies, while, like I said, this one focuses on the mid bass. So putting your Acoustimass module in the proper position also makes a very big difference. And last but not least, there comes the power issue. I've seen a lot of people give barely any power to their Acoustimass systems, and that results in weak bass, not a lot of punchiness, and just not really the best sound quality. But I found that paired to the proper amount of power, they get loud without any audible distortion, and they provide a nice surround sound experience. Now, I'm not saying that, Bose is the best, but I've never seen any other speakers this small get so loud with no distortion, and the bass actually sounds pretty clean coming from this. It's not a subwoofer, so it's not gonna, shake your house or anything, but it fills that void where, you don't really need a subwoofer unless you're actually into really big home theater experiences. For just regular listening and light movie watching, the Acoustimass module will be more than enough for most people. And for those of you with neighbors, you might get somebody knocking on your door. Now, like I said, it's not going to shake any pictures off the walls, but it is going to fill your listening space with bass. So with all that being said, I think honestly the Acoustimass systems aren't as bad as people claim. They're like, oh, all highs, no lows, must be Bose. But I disagree. That's why I've kept my Bose for so long, is because I actually enjoy what they can do. I really like the design ingenuity that went into making them. Yeah, they're not the best quality system, but like I said, for what they do, I honestly enjoy them. And I've had a lot of different speakers. I've had Klipsch, Bowers & Wilkins, JBLs, and many others. And I still hold on to my Bose. So hopefully y'all enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more content. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one.